Hello and welcome to return of a series I haven't kind of done too much recently with on this channel, and honestly kind of there's not too much to add with this one, but might as well go and do it. This is a what am I farming for the month of, and this is the month of March 2021. Also I guess kind of a little bit of my farming guide, but I mean I guess it really depends on what kind of place you are in the game. But let's go ahead and start off with upcoming events. Is basically right now we currently have the still running anniversary event, and then after this ends, a couple of days later will be Ghostbusters. As for what to farm for Ghostbusters, well, the only thing you really need for them is Ghostbusters, which you can't farm without that event. So nothing really to prepare yourself for there. I mean, I guess you just need to kind of have some good teams to be able to kind of do some of this stuff. But the further in you go, the more Ghostbusters you have to use. So by the end of it, you only have I believe one slot open to choose a fig for, because you're running all the other 4 Ghostbusters, although you also need to level them up. So I guess now might be a good time to actually look at those figs and see what you can do to level them up, because I know like mine can't really use them in many places, super neglected, but I might come through here and do this, especially for the slime event, because that's another one. We also have the slime thing, but I mean, you kind of have to do all the Ghostbuster stuff for that. I don't think I'm going to be getting anywhere close to unlocking him, but I might be able to complete the 3rd node, maybe the 4th one. I get some people up a little bit higher, but yeah, that's kind of it. Just using the Ghostbusters, and I don't know. I don't really particularly care to use them too much. As for my roster, I kind of did this in each episode. Here's just the team I've been using recently in Arena. Watch that video if it's already out by now. Actually, it's probably not out by the time this one goes up, because I still have to film a couple more things. I'm going to get this one out a little bit before then. But this is currently my meme Arena team. But here's kind of what I have here if anybody is curious. As somebody who doesn't really spend on this game, I think I bought the booster pass like once or twice paid. That's and like the $1 starter bundle, bought that twice somehow. I'm really not a paid player. Most of this is free to play, so you can eventually get to the point where you can just kind of lock everything. As you see, I basically have everything unlocked. But Governor Nonsuch, which really want these to be rerun, and Slimer. That's it. And we have these 2 new figs, which I'm looking forward to seeing them, which we knew a little bit more about the kits. He's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, because he looks the more cool of the 2. But yeah, that's kind of what it is. I've also finally been able to get Gorewell thanks to the anniversary event. Super happy about that. Over halfway there to another goal, another star level on them. So just kind of a little bit of update. Like, you will eventually reach the point where you can get kind of everything in the game as a non-paying player. I mean, you can get Gorewell if you spend gems on bags, if you save up for that. Otherwise, you're not really going to be able to get Gorewell. Luckily, I was able to get some tiles for her from this event, so I was able to max them out. But otherwise, it's not really attainable unless you spend on bags, which the people have differing opinions on that. I kind of like spending on bags rather than events personally myself, but I really like Gorewell and the space theme that they came from, so I was super happy to get them. But that's kind of my one thing I would say for anybody new, like, hey, you will eventually get a whole bunch of stuff, and like at the point where you don't have enough resources to spend on people. So I have like tons of these people I could spend on, but I just don't have the goal to do so, because I would love to kind of max some of these out. And I might do that soon, like fitness instructor, to start getting master towels from her, Crook Chuck, Poppy, who else were a couple of the other ones. I thought I had a whole bunch of extra towels for I guess that's kind of it, really. But yeah, so there's some interesting stuff there. As for who I would recommend farming for right now, like I said, we have Ghostbusters, so not too much there. But I kind of feel like the next event we will have after that is either going to be the Imperial event rerun, which I don't think you really needed to have any specific thing based off of the last run. Originally, you had to have pirates for some of the stuff. I believe that has changed, although it still might be a good idea to get pirates. I mean, pirates is always a good one to have, like gold event. And there's just like lots of good options here. Like you can get a good free-to-play pirate team, or like an easier to access pirate team, all maxed out fairly easily. But it might be worth investing a little bit more into Lay, because I think you might have to use her for some of the stuff. I would love for this event to be changed, but it kind of sounds like it's not going to be, because the Ghostbusters event wasn't changed. I kind of hope this one was really going to be, more so than Ghostbusters, but the Ghostbusters event is really bad, I also don't really care to do Ghostbusters, so even if it was good, it's kind of like a meh to me. But Lei might be one to look into, because I want to say you might have to use her for some of the nodes during the event, maybe. But she's somebody from the event, so you might not even have her. But other than that, there's not really anybody else to work on. Right now, like I just saw my things, I'm kind of maxed out on lots of stuff. Most of my stuff from Monolith Waste is done. All I have left is Zombie. I have Chef. I guess Tier 2 set tools from the Lighthouse set and the Great White Node. And I think Fitness Instructor I might could. She might be maxed. I haven't just done the math yet. But sit down and actually think that through. Not as easy to do that off the top of my head, at least not in any kind of quick manner. And I think Hot Dog Man and Cactus Girl, which I might say might be the fun ones I'd recommend farming right now, because they're kind of free, they're easy to farm up, and we are getting 2 more costumed figs in the next update. Not saying that's going to be meta, I really doubt it. But hey, they might synergize a little bit with each other. It might be kind of fun to look forward to running this. Some of you can even get Super Wrestler and Corn Cob Guy. But those are kind of my 2 recommendations from here. And I guess for Master Event planning, I kind of feel like we're going to be getting either Woo or Ghost again soon. I can't remember which one was which one ran first. I want to say it was maybe Ghost and then Woo ran again. So it might be also smart to work a little bit on your pirates in space. Hopefully you have a few more options. Like now, I mean, I can't really use them too much, but I do at least have one more option now for space. Although most of this is thanks to a bag thing I got. Not you. Major Catastrophe up to 6 stars. I got, I think, like 50 or 100 things out of a bag for him, so I got him up there. And I am farming him a little bit from this event, so I'll hopefully have another good 6-star option, because I would love to maybe run Gorwell, because I think Gorwell would really help the team, but you're not going to be getting into 6 stars anytime soon. Maybe Jins seems unlikely, but maybe they can get up there. They don't care too much for them. Would also love to have a Blacktron event rerun. Could kind of feel like Imperial event or the Blacktron event is going to be kind of ran next. Blacktron, if I remember correctly from the last time it was run, I think they didn't change it. Because originally you had to, at some certain point you have to use Dwayne, then you had to use Quincy to proceed further on into the campaign. So you might want to work on both of these. Like, Dwayne's not that great, but hey, stick him on your team, level him some more. If you're going any free-to-play space stuff, you probably kind of have to use him, so hey, it might be worth kind of investing a little bit into him. Quincy too, if you have him, maybe work on him a little bit more for the event. I mean, you don't have to really do too much, as you can see. I was able to get through the whole event. Well, I guess you might be able to tell from this, but I got to the set node without really investing too much into him, so it's not that bad. You don't have to go super hard into it, but maybe look into those. I feel like that's the brickpace kind of most likely to run. I kind of thought they would be running before Ghostbusters, especially since Ghostbusters didn't get reworked. I think Ghostbusters ran after them, so it's running a little bit sooner than both of those. Now, to me, I'm looking way more forward to having the Blacktron event and the Imperial event run again. So that's another thing maybe to think about preparing for. And like I said, also I think maybe we might have Ghost or Woo, so get a solid 5-figure space team set up. There's some decent options. Probably the most accessible one, weirdly, for another 5th option besides Dwayne is actually Katoski. Even though he's a Master Store fig, he just feels way more accessible now. Like Quincy would be a good one, but you have to have his event to be able to get him. Katoski's been a whole lot more stuff, so you may have the option to get him, and he's actually, I think, really good, especially for a space fig. I like how he's pretty chunky and does some decent damage and some nice utility stuff. Also, his anti-stealth stuff I think would be really nice for the Ghost node, at least the 6-star one. I think maybe the 5-star one also had some stealth elements, but I know for sure the 6-star one had some stealth elements, and I'd highly recommend getting Ghost to 6 stars. While he is good, just have him unlocked. He's a little bit squishy at 5 stars, and I say that as somebody who actually runs him at 5, well, I guess not runs him, but has tried running him and having to use him at 5 stars. He's a little bit squishy, and also like just 8 tiles of him. So getting that 6 star on him, I think would be really good, especially if you want to use him for a Majestro's Tower set. I can't believe I actually said that correctly. So you might want to look into that. Wu is just also really good. He's good with ninjas. He's good with Majestro's Tower. A really solid support fig. He's also probably one I certainly highly recommend trying to get him to 6 stars. That event though was very frustrating. You need really good pirates. Let me just, I guess, throw this out there. As somebody who tried it last time with all of this except Scarlet was 5 stars, so I couldn't use her for that event. Maybe she was even 4 stars at the time they ran. So I couldn't use her. With Cookbot, Redbeard, Valiant, Argenta, and Darwin at the rank they are here, I could not get them. Well, maybe if I tried another 200 times, I might get that one good chance of RNG to be able to actually get him. But he's really hard to get at 6 stars, so you really need to invest into some good figs. I highly recommend Scarlet. I think Scarlet is better for that than Valiant, so you probably want her. That's why I'm currently farming her up to try to get her to the 7th star. So I guess it's good it's not running, so I may get a little bit stronger by then. It's going to take a while. I'm probably not going to be able to get her up there. But hey, I'm working on her still. Castaway might also be a good option, but just for how it is to get him, yeah, unlike you have him at the star level. I mean, you can buy him from this event. I don't know if he's worth it. I think he'd be a better attacker certainly than Darwin and probably than Argenta. But like that little extra use, I don't know if it's really worth going into Castaway and maybe the Imperials. But yeah, I can't really use them. So yeah, there's some fun stuff with that. As for sets, I probably highly recommend for Wu working on bringing up your, of course, Forbidden Island set. I mean, it's just kind of the go-to one. Feel free to skip this. It's all anti-imperial stuff and justice, which you don't really ever run into, so there's really kind of nothing to do here. But like these, I recommend maxing them out to get this set pretty strong. Although it still kind of relies on RNG for Redbeard to actually attack anybody, so it may just not really work for you sometimes. But hey, that's probably the best one to go for that one. Certainly the best one to go for that event, for getting Wu. Maybe if you have a super strong Imperial team, maybe this could be better, but good luck getting that to actually be able to ever try it. As for getting Ghost, the split thing here is kind of between Ice Station Odyssey and Galaxy Explorer. I probably lean more towards Galaxy Explorer because I feel like some of these options in here are a little bit better. Personally, especially if you're able to run a couple more people, like if you can actually run gens, yeah, certainly for sure. There's actually some kind of stuff I kind of like in here. But both of them are still kind of very limited. This one does at least do, I think, a speed buff here. Skill and speed, so it's kind of nice, but just being able to go a little bit faster is... It might be a little bit better than Galaxy Explorer, depending on your team roster, but I mean, really, none of these space sets really do too much. Like, oddly, I kind of even like this one the best for some of the stuff it does to, oh gosh, it does to, I believe, stealth. Foes who have stealth have their attack reduced by 10%. I mean, this might could even be, I mean, honestly, I kind of even like this one the most. I highly recommend not investing heavily into this, because it rarely kind of works, and half the stuff it's kind of made for is not really in the game. But yeah, that's kind of how weird the space sets are. They're kind of like light on usefulness. This would be super good to remove buffs though, and having faced some like enemy teams and events recently that had this trigger all the time, that city node and the anniversary event always popping off on my south as soon as I taunt. I kind of want to use it now because it feels a whole lot more useful with how much it's messed me up. But I'm probably not going to get as good of RNG with it, so it probably is not. But that's just kind of my recommendation, probably this. Although this is also a good one. This one's just way more expensive. So that's kind of, I guess, it. I guess we'll go well, I guess we'll go through the store right quick too. Just basic store, of course, just buy whatever gear you need here. As for this, really, if you don't have it, I kind of recommend the Dojo Showdown, because I think that is still a good set. This is pretty good. You might can buy the tier 3 set tools from here too. They just like they're coming in a couple more events now, so I don't know if it is good buying them from here or not. Although I also have bad luck actually finding it, because it kind of rotates between this and the set tools, and I feel like I'm not ever awake when they have the set tools on here, or I don't ever actually get on, so good luck kind of finding those. But this is a good set to go for, I feel like. Pretty good with ninjas. Is a solid one. And myself right now, I'm currently going for Hank, because there's kind of nothing else in here that's exclusive. Demo Dummy certainly don't get him, so I guess I'm buying Hank now. As against it as I am buying Hank from here with these. I don't know if we're getting anything else anytime soon, or anything else that would be super meta changing. They could add him the new figs into here, the new costume ones, but I don't think costumes gonna be super meta changing stuff anytime soon, so he's probably a good solid one to buy. And if you are early, he might be worth go ahead and buying over the set. I guess it depends if you're going to run ninjas or not, because they are still a solid team, but hey, you might not like Ninjago. He would be another good option for pirates. He's better, I think, than the other attackers with Argenta and suddenly Darwin. But he's just like, just slightly better enough that it doesn't feel really worth it if there's anything else you want from here. But hey, he's still probably good enough one to go for. And here, as you see, I'm already kind of done with these. I highly recommend buying the figs over the set. I guess it depends how early you are, but the cost here with these really isn't that great. For one, I'd probably go with Bart to give him another healer, or get a healer up for pirates, and he's really good there. So if you're working on pirates, which helps with a whole bunch of stuff, including gold and a whole bunch of events, I recommend going him. Zane, I think, is also another really good one to go. He's a pretty solid Ninjago attacker. I want to call him support, because like he does some decent support stuff with applying Dizzy and Vulnerable, or do some figs, so I almost feel like putting him into a support category. Like, he's a good support attacker, and he's in a whole bunch of events, but they're kind of expensive buying them there. This is kind of a free area. I'd recommend maybe getting him too. Kind of depends what you're going for. Maybe even alternate between them. That's what I did at some point. Then maybe Princess Verda. I really kind of like her for the King's Court Castle team. Although, I mean, hey, she's the only other 5th fig tag King's Court, so you kind of need her for the extra speed move, but she's not bad. She's, I think, a pretty solid enough unit. Businessman is also pretty good if you're going for the city node, although I think Primo works a little bit better if you can get him. He's fairly easy to get if you have the castle figs, so he might be a better option, but he's also good to go for that for the missing materials event. So here's like your kind of options, kind of say Bart, Zane, probably Verda, then Trent, because hey, if you go Verda, that's another fig to use to unlock Primo with, which kind of replaces Trent as being a little bit better. Some interesting utility. You have to control them yourself though, but hey, he's another fig that might be nice to add to your roster. As for the guild shop, I feel like it's also likely they might add somebody else in here, but I just can't be bothered to save for that right now. As you might be able to see, I'm kind of getting through a whole bunch of these. Like, Substance will have to go for Minor Clay, but he's just kind of so-so after his rework. I mean, I like him a little bit better, but not enough really could buy him. Storm's still, like, okay. I feel like her kit's still really weird with her whole taunt thing, and she doesn't have much benefit she adds to other castle teams, so kind of leaving her here at ready to be 6 stars. Zombie, I like him. I think they can make him a lot better in this game, or make his like unique selling point a little bit cooler. He's okay enough, I think, for like a spooky tagged event. It's like the Spooky All-Stars, like probably not one you want to use for the later nodes, but early on, sure. But he has a Monolith Waste node, which is oddly very far down, considering how not super great he is. You want him more early game, but hey, I recommend farming him there than here, unless you really want to go spooky, then maybe go for him. Better one to go for here, I think, is Spooky Girl. Really like her. I feel like she's a pretty solid attacker. I like her kit. I might use her for the end tiers of the Spooky All-Star events. I mean, I have the teams to be able to get me there, but I feel like she kind of makes the cut sort of, for that team. I like her. I think she's pretty good. Has some unique things with the taunt removal, some other stuff. You also have Lego House, which is still an interesting set. Just doesn't really work for anybody too well, so I'm not really going especially for this price, so I just can max out some of these other figs in here. Maybe they add in something else sometime soon that makes this store a little bit better, but as of right now, there's not too much. Definitely don't ever go Kelvin, because like, while she's not super bad anymore, she's still pretty free to get some other places, so don't waste this currency on her. Don't waste it on him, because you can farm him from other places and he's not that great. My own personal experience is Minor Clay. My bags love to pull him, so maybe just get him through the bags. He's not really, I think, worth buying it from here, though. Maybe with his rework he'd be good for the Missing Materials event. But needs City Figs, maybe, but I feel like you have better options in here, which kind of leaves you between Spooky Girl and Storm. I'd go Spooky Girl over Storm, but Storm might help you unlock Primo if you feel like going for that route. She's another castle tagged Fig. So there's some good stuff there, but I feel like Spooky Girl being a spooky fig, and I think a pretty decent one at that, I'd go for her instead. House is there if you, I guess, like to meme. There's just not much reason to exactly go for it. Maybe at least get some tiles to unlock it if you're a new player, to at least get you another set, but it doesn't do too much for too many people, so it doesn't really make any actual effect or anything, so I kind of recommend not going for it till you maybe get later in here. And one of the more interesting stores, and one I'm oddly wrapping up, is the arena store. Never from LaQuay, never from Dwayne, at least not from here. They're not really that great, and there's exclusive figs in here that are good. My own farming thing, I went Brutus first, because I like Brutus. I like that castle theme he's from. I like running castle. I think he's a really good fig. But as for best use in here, I feel like maybe Scarlet, Lloyd, Ash, Brutus, and Valiant. Now, Valiant might be ranked a little bit higher, but for the fact that both of these are pirate tanks, Scarlet's better, so I'd go for her. And if you kind of have her, you don't as much need him. Now, 2 tanks might be good, and I might try that out for the Woo event. You see, I've been farming him up for a while, and he's like kind of halfway to 7 stars. But I mean, she's better than him, so better go and farm her. But it's just kind of odd having both pirate tanks in here, cause it kind of take up the same slot. So if you're newer, I definitely recommend going her. Even if you're older, maybe still going her unless you're close to him or something. It's just she's better. So since you're farming them both from the same thing, go her over him. Lloyd is pretty good right now with Majestro's Tower. He's kind of one of the better tanks in the game. With some of his unique stuff he does with his quote-unquote taunt, makes him really good. So he's another good one to go. A little limited, or people used to say he was limited because he was a Ninjago focused character, but there's some stuff you can do with him now with some new teams that makes him not as tag dependent. So he's still a pretty good one. A little bit more late game, but you might want him to be a little bit higher up before you reach super late game. Why Ash is here is just she's a good city attacker, the best city attacker, maybe one of the better city figs, kind of. And she's useful for the Missing Materials event, so hey, you kind of gonna need her for that. See, she's not always just from here. I think she's from here, and you can get a few tiles from her from Brickspedition, so she's not entirely exclusive, but I mean, one tile every now and then in Brickspedition is not going to really change too much, so you still kind of have to farm her from this store. So there's that. Brutus, I would say I might make him up better than her. I would say go for him, but not everybody wants to be running a full castle team. They're not super meta right now, at least not this big. But I love it with the King's Court team. I feel like the team was really good, very underrated. You use them on lots of stuff. Easily got me through the whole castle anniversary event node, because hey, I had a full King's Court team waiting to go, so hey, I was prepared for that kind of stuff. So it's just kind of, I guess, if you want to be ready for that, he is a really good city attacker and does some fun stuff if you control him. Not as good if you don't control him with those taunts onto weird figs. But hey, if you control that manually, there's some great stuff you can do, especially if you have Go-Go on the team. And I kind of already explained him, is just she's better and works for the same basic team, so go her, not him. These figs at least fill different roles for different teams, but these are basically the same one. As for the Master Store, I've heard lots of people say Will of the Witch is kind of the best one to go for, and probably is. Really do like Major K though, and I think if you want to farm up a space fig, he's probably the one to go for if you are new. He does give you some, I think, extra benefits in a space team. For some events like the Ghost event, I think he'll be really useful for that. And he's a lot more accessible now, so farming him from here isn't as bad, because you maybe get a couple other tiles from some other things too. These two are lots more exclusive. He isn't as much exclusive, so that might also make some people not want to buy him from here, because you could spend these on more exclusive characters. But if you want to get up another good space fig, he's a very good option. But I'd probably say go Willa. Jins is kind of nice to unlock. Very costly to do so though, and actually he's not that great, I've found. Not as great as I thought he was going to be based on his kit. He feels just a little squishy to me. But hey, he does some interesting stuff. He'll be a good one to pop into a like techie / classic space Galaxy Explorer team. And hey, if I could actually use him in the Ghost event, that would be awesome. And he might be really good to use for the Gorwell's Escape weekly event, because you have to use space figs, but they aren't locked to star level. So hey, he's probably might be a good one to run for that. As of right now though, I feel like he's the one I can recommend the least. Hey, I feel like Major K is just way better in the space team than him right now, and he's a little bit easier to get. So if you had to farm one, I'd probably say Willa's the smart one to go for here, especially with all the stuff they do right now with Spooky. It's some spooky focused events. But Major K is also another solid option. Good for space, good for any techie focused event, which is so far just All Stars. But with Spooky popping up in the anniversary event, especially with collectibles, which is a main tag, you might want to focus on getting some more Spooky up there. So hey, I might say her, then him. I guess it depends on what your situation is. So maybe just even unlock him might be good, and then maybe go more back into her. Unlock him if you want to, but he's just not too game changing. Of course, you do have tier 3 elixirs, which I really do not recommend ever buying those really. So maybe the mashup store or something, or one of the other stores that has, I don't really remember. It's not really that hard to get. Tier 3 set tools a possibility, but they kind of gone up. I'd rather maybe buy them some of the events, because more events are having them. And if you're an older player that needs these more, you probably have less of a need for some of the event store options. So I probably recommend going with these. Apples are still kind of good if you want to get them, because apples are still kind of rare than the other two. The other two can actually be farmed from campaign nodes. This one can't, but I don't know the cost here. I just don't really feel it personally. So with that said, that's kind of all I have for my current where my farming for the month of March, and my recommendations for what to farm. If you are somebody currently playing this game, I guess new / old. If you're older, you kind of already know what to farm / have already farmed it. So like, there's not much. Like I'm at that point now, which is kind of like, I guess I farm this fig. I don't have the gold to spend on leveling them, but I guess I'll do that at some point. I guess I'm Gear 7ing a whole bunch of characters. I won't really use that much because I can, because we kind of reached that point. So I guess with that, I'll go ahead and call this here. Hope you have a great day and a great month playing LEGO Legacy Heroes Unboxed, and I look forward to seeing you for what hopefully will be another video next month, assuming we actually get something kind of a little bit more interesting to look forward to. So until then, bye bye.